That's Mark Fowler, the distinguished gentleman on the right. And we appreciate you dedicating your Tuesday evening to learn about dental sleep marketing. For those of you that attend our webinars frequently, you know that Dr. Yatros and Dr. Drake, sort of their refrain is to just screen your patients. And a review of the attendees tonight shows that we have a wide swath of experience level on this webinar tonight. And some of you I know have screened all of your patients, and you're likely then looking for a way to identify some new patients. So that's why we've brought Mark tonight. And as 1 in 5, probably closer to 1 in 4 patients suffers from sleep apnea, there's a huge opportunity to identify some of these patients and treat them and grow dental practices. So, Mark, with that, I'll hand the baton off to you to start running.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll jump right in. So, when it comes to the potential with dental sleep, you've all heard the statistics. Jason just shared one of the more common: 1 in 4, 1 in 5 adults has some level of obstructive sleep apnea. 85% of those are undiagnosed. CPAP has a failure rate over 75%. And I heard actually at the last DS3 conference that oral appliance therapy only makes up about 10% of the OSA treatment market. So now we're going to look at some data that will further illustrate just how great the potential is for you as a dentist treating sleep apnea. So listed here are 7 popular dental services that thousands and thousands of dentists chase after in their marketing and advertising. And here are the average number of monthly Google searches that take place for each of these services. So this is people typing a search in on Google for those search terms. And as you can see, those 7 combined generate over 295,000 Google searches each month. And that's a lot of search volume. And this middle column shows the average amount that the dentists who are advertising on Google pay each time someone clicks on one of their ads for each of those search terms. And then this final column on the right shows how competitive those keywords are, with 100 being the most competitive. And keeping in mind that most advertising platforms, such as Google, are auction-based systems. So the more desirable that type of patient and the more practices bidding on a keyword term, the more expensive the cost of each click. Now let's compare that data with the data for sleep apnea. First, you'll notice there are actually more searches for sleep apnea, that one single search term, than there are for all 7 of those other services combined. And next, you'll see that the cost per click for sleep apnea is $1.36. That's a fraction of the cost of the average of those other 7 services. And finally, the competitiveness in sleep apnea is significantly less than it is with those other services. And for further comparison, the cost per click of sleep apnea is about 550% less than it is for the average of those others, and it's 239% less competitive. So the bottom line is there's a lot of people searching for sleep apnea solutions. And putting your ad in front of those people is extremely affordable, and there's significantly less competition for it than most other dental services. And that is the definition of an ideal target market or niche. You literally could not create a better scenario. There was a popular business book that came out a few years ago called Blue Ocean Strategy. And the premise of that book is that businesses can succeed by creating blue oceans of uncontested market space, as opposed to doing battle in what they refer to as the red oceans, where competitors fight for dominance. And the analogy being that an ocean full of vicious competition turns red with blood. So the idea is you want to find those blue oceans where it's less competitive. And dental sleep is the blue ocean within dentistry, at least for now. As more dentists realize the potential and With sleep, it'll get much more competitive, just as we've seen with most of the other lucrative dental services. And while every other dentist in your market is fighting it out, chasing implant and cosmetic cases, saying the same things to the same audience, and continuing to drive up the cost of advertising, you have a huge advantage by targeting dental sleep patients. So the potential for dental sleep is huge, and the time to grab market share is now. And I'm going to walk you through a blueprint that'll help you tap into this potential. So this is a direct consumer marketing program that we're going to be looking at. And even if you've been having success with physical or relationship marketing with physicians, MDs, you still want to have a direct to consumer strategy to provide you with additional opportunities and diversification. So starting with at the bottom of this graphic and working our way up, the first thing we'll look at is branding. The goal of your brand is to create a visual impact that prompts both an emotional and intellectual response. And you need to have an integrated brand strategy that's both consistent and memorable. And as you focus on dental sleep, it may require modifications of everything from the name, logo, tagline, website, etc. And we'll unpack that more shortly here. Moving up to the next section, the channels, you want to hit multiple channels in your outreach efforts, both internal and external marketing, as well as online and offline marketing, in order to maximize your exposure. An example of internal marketing would be posters strategically placed throughout the office. And the goal with these is to prompt patients to ask questions and to start conversations. And this is especially important if you still see general dentistry patients. And even if you're only doing sleep, it just reinforces your message.
You know, Mark, we were at a course a little while ago, and I asked the dentist why he was there at the course, what prompted him to attend, and he said that one of his friends gave him one of those posters, and he had so many patients asking him about it that he thought his response was that he better either take the poster down or learn about dental sleep and start treating some patients. So it's there's one anecdotal testament to the value of that internal marketing collateral.
That's good. That's a perfect example. And it's a similar case with in-office brochures. And you know, these trifolds work great. We send them out with clear acrylic stands and suggest that they be placed in the waiting room, operatories, anywhere a patient may have some idle time. And similar to what you just said, the feedback we've gotten from practices is that they're conversation starters. And the way they're laid out, they make it very easy for everyone from the front desk to the hygienist to quickly say, you know, when someone asks, they don't have to know a whole lot. All they have to do is say, here, if you want to read a little bit about it, and then take this quiz there in the middle. And when the doctor comes in, he or she can discuss your answers with you. And these can be beneficial even if you ask similar type questions, about sleep on your new patient intake forms, because they may have flown through those forms. A lot of people, I know, I'll admit, I'm that way. I hate filling out forms. I hate paperwork. So it's like, just get me through this. So they may have been flying through it, or they may not have symptoms, but a family member may, and they can take this home to them.
You know, Mark, I don't understand that loathing of filling out forms. A lot of times I just spend my time at the DMV filling out new driver's license forms just for fun.
That's a wise use of time. I like how you think, Jason.
Thanks.
Now let's talk about your website. Your website is really the foundation on which you build your brand presence and the hub of all of your marketing efforts. And it has three primary goals: to establish authority, to educate, and to convert visitors into scheduled appointments. Regardless of how they heard about you, most patients will visit your website before ever stepping foot in your office. And they'll be forming an impression of your practice the moment they land on your website. So your site must make the right impression and position you properly in their mind, or they'll probably never step through the front door. So first, it goes without saying, it must be mobile friendly. Somewhere around 80%, 75 to 85% of the visitors to your website will be on a mobile device, most of them on a phone, and an iPhone is going to be obviously the majority of that. And so you want to ensure that your website is what's called responsive, and that is it automatically adapts to the size of the screen that the visitor is using. So whether they're on a desktop computer or their phone, it'll look good, be easy to read, and easy to navigate, and that's important. And so that first goal, as I said, is to establish authority. In other words, position you as the go-to expert in your market. And to do that, I believe you need a standalone website for sleep. And there are a few reasons I say that. First, having that separate site gets patients in a medical versus a dental mindset. And as we all know, when you're talking about sleep, you're talking about medical, you're using medical terminology. It's medical billing, it's medical deductibles. And also, case acceptance is on a totally different level when you're talking dental versus medical. And if you think about it, most people, if they go to their primary care physician, that physician comes in quick, right, asks a few questions, gives them a quick exam, and starts writing out orders, right? Okay, I want you to take 20 milligrams of this. I want you to have these tests done at this lab, and then come back and see me in 2 weeks. And what do most people do? They don't say, oh, well, now, are you sure it shouldn't be 10 milligrams? And do I really need these tests? Is that lab the least expensive? And when I come back, since it'll be a return visit, will I get a discount on your fee? No, they do as directed. And that's the mindset you want them in when they come into your office for a sleep consultation. And second, your website must instill confidence and establish you as the authority on the topic. And often the websites of service-based businesses have the opposite effect. So let's look at an example of that. Assume you were sued by a former employee for wrongful termination. And just what you want to think about, right? On a
Mark, nobody wants to hear this, yes. Mark.
But hey, I do have a point to it. It's not just a beat down here. So you receive that news. You immediately go and do a Google search for an employer defense attorney, right? You come across this website. At first glance, it sounds good. You know, that's exactly what you're looking for, wrongful termination. However, you notice this laundry list of a variety of business law that they practice. And you may be thinking, how does construction or mobile home law relate to wrongful termination law? Then you click on their individual services page, and it's really tough to see how estate planning relates to wrongful termination defense. You know, that saying, jack of all trades, master of none, comes to mind. And at this point, you're probably not feeling so confident in their expertise in defending you for wrongful termination. So you move on. And the next website you come to has right there in the URL at the very top there, highlighted, you can see employment law or employment lawyer. And then again, it says employment law in the header, an experienced employment lawyer. All of his areas of practice relate 100% to labor law. So which of these two law firms would you feel more confident in hiring to represent you? Now, put yourself in a patient's shoes. Patients in Allen, Texas, conducting a search for sleep apnea information. And one of the websites that shows up is this dental practice. They have a page, you know, nice looking page about sleep, but they also have the laundry list of dental services on the left. So they move on to the next site, another website that shows up for that search term. And again, the home page, or this page here, is about sleep. However, you'll notice from that highlighted URL at the top, it's buried pretty deep within their website's navigation. Then they click on the Our Services tab, and you can see they list every procedure they've probably ever done or thought about doing. And we're back to the jack of all trades feeling. So just as it was difficult to see how estate planning related to labor law, it's equally difficult for a prospective patient to see how porcelain veneers relate to treating sleep apnea. It's easy to make the connection between root canals and crowns, next to impossible to make the mental jump from root canals to sleep disordered breathing.
Yeah, Mark, every time I'm in an Uber and the driver asks where I'm going or what I'm doing, and I share with them that I work with dentists that treat sleep apnea, nearly every time they reply, dentists can treat sleep apnea. So yeah, there's a major disconnect, and I can certainly see where the website can be the beginning or the end of that confusion.
That's right. That's exactly right. So take these examples we've looked at and compare them to this. So they click on the website. First thing they notice before even arriving on the page is the URL, has Sleep Center right there in it. First thing they see as they land, snoring affecting your relationships, tired even after a full night's sleep. And now you have them nodding their head, yeah, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. And meanwhile, this video is silently playing in the background that addresses both the snorer and the snoree, because let's face it, she's more likely to schedule a consult for him than he is.
Mark, I just checked dictionary.com, and snoree is not a real word.
Well, we may have to add it.
Okay. It's very real. How about that? It may not be a real word, but it's a very real condition.
Oh, thank you for the fact check, Jason. I appreciate it. Keep me honest. All right, so as they scroll down the page, the first thing they come to is understanding sleep apnea. Because remember, that first goal is to educate. And there's an anatomical video that shows them exactly what causes apnea. And the website continues to tell a story, kind of leading them down this path. And they see health issues, the comorbidities related to untreated sleep apnea. Again, educating them and starting to tie things together for them. Then they get to symptoms, and this gets them thinking, yes, that's me. Or, maybe that's why I'm having those headaches in the morning and I've been so forgetful, right? So they're starting to get engaged. Now they come to this interactive quiz. They're going through checking them off. Yes, 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 that's me. And now they're really engaged in the process. And you want your website to make people say, that's me. That's exactly how I feel. That's what I'm experiencing. And professional copywriters call this joining the conversation that's going on in the prospect's mind. Everyone has an internal conversation going on at all times, and that sleep apnea sufferer is going to have a very specific conversation going on. And you want everything from your imagery to the verbiage to the user experience to join right in on that internal conversation that they're having. Commonly asked questions section, you want to not only answer their questions and be a resource, but you also want to anticipate possible objections and address them right up front. And this is a big one. If you offer home sleep tests, you want to make that prominent on your website. A lot of people aren't willing to go spend the night in a sleep lab. And by letting them know you offer an alternative, you're avoiding losing them, right, at that point. And so everything about this website is designed to convert that visitor into a scheduled appointment, because ultimately that's the primary goal of your website. So you want to have clear calls to action throughout the website, telling them exactly what you want them to do, whether it's take the quiz, which is a smaller step than calling to schedule. You're giving them options to keep them moving down that path to becoming a patient. And you want to very clearly define what you want them to do and say it multiple times in multiple ways.
Mark, I'm going to show my marketing chops here. That's called a call to action, otherwise known as a CTA.
That's right. That's exactly right. Very good. All right. And since that ultimate CTA is to get them to schedule that consultation, you want to let them know exactly what to expect if they do. It's all about overcoming objections, fears, hesitation, doubts. Okay? And this website's been walking them through a journey, kind of telling a story, if you will, and you want to be sure and show them the happy ending, because that mindset of an OSA sufferer, they're tired, they're irritable, feel like they're walking around in a fog all the time, probably experiencing several health issues that doctors can't explain, probably tried various remedies, and they're frustrated. So you want to bring them full circle and paint the picture of what life could be like and give them hope. And a big part of converting is helping them visualize a positive outcome. So now you have a great looking website that's been designed to convert visitors to scheduled patients. And that's really only the beginning, because you can have the best looking website there is, but it won't do you any good if people aren't seeing it. So next, we're going to look at some proven ways to get qualified patients to your website. But first, just a couple of quick housekeeping items. First, if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, just to ask questions, talk about your market specifically, or bounce ideas off someone, I'd like to offer you a complimentary 30-minute phone call. You just visit bullseyedental.com/call, and that'll take you directly to my calendar, and you can select a time there on my calendar for us to talk. And now, Jason, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, just a couple quick housekeeping things. As Mark mentioned, our next webinar is going to be hosted by Dr. Jameson Spencer. Jack Nicholson will not be there. However, if the length of a webinar's title has any correlation between the quality of the content, this will be our best webinar ever. So Dr. Jameson Spencer, whom many of you know, will be presenting All TMJ Patients Are Nuts, right? A simple proven approach, taking a great TMJ pain history. So this will be a great webinar. It's on Tuesday, May 29th, 2 weeks from tonight, same time. And in the email that we'll send with your CE certificate, it will have a link to register. So you will receive a copy of your CE certificate within the next 72 hours via email. It'll arrive in the email address that you used to register. So if you don't receive it this week, please just check your spam or your junk folder before you contact us. If, however, for some reason you don't, please give us a shout, and we'll be happy to send you another copy of that. And then also, I want to ask each of you to please visit dentalsleepinsider.com. That's our online magazine we publish every other month. It's full of interesting articles, relevant tips, techniques, tidbits. I know a lot of you on here are already subscribers, and I see several of you on here that are actually contributors. But we feature a lot of really useful, interesting tidbits. So please visit dentalsleepinsider.com to subscribe. It's free, and the next issue will actually hit inboxes a week from today. Next Tuesday, the 22nd, featuring articles about compliance monitoring for oral appliances, home sleep testing with Ryan Jovenbocht, articles from Dr. Guy Yatros, Dr. Richard Drake, Dr. Rick Van Gerp, and a bevy of others. So subscribe today. It'll be the best thing you do in the next 5 minutes. And then also, for those of you that are on here that are wondering who the heck I am and why I'm on here, I work with Dr. Drake and Dr. Yatros at DS3. We wanted to give each of them a night to rest their voices since they lecture so often and do these webinars. But I work with them at DS3. We work together to bring dentists the education, coaching, software, and support that they need to implement and grow their dental sleep practices. So if this is something that you're interested in, you need help with education, coaching, software support, or screening, testing, treating, and billing for dental sleep, simply type consult, CONSULT, there it is there, type consult, and one of my colleagues, either Jody or Brandy, will reach out to you tomorrow and answer those questions you have. They won't try to sell you anything. Really, what they'll do is they'll learn more about the current role of dental sleep in your practice, ask you some questions about what your goals are, what your obstacles have been, your challenges, and then discern if there's a way that we, along with our partners, might be able to help you realize that success. So type consult, and we'll reach out to you tomorrow. Make sure that you visit Mark's site and schedule your 30-minute consult. Mark, thanks for being so generous with your time. And
You're welcome.
with that, hand it back off to you.
All right. Okay, so now let's look at some ways to get prospective patients to your website. And we'll start with online strategies. And while there are hundreds of online platforms, from search engines to social media sites where you can advertise, as you see here, Facebook and Google are far and away the most dominant. So we're going to focus on them tonight. All right, when thinking about prospective sleep patients, there are a couple different types initially. There are active and passive. So those who are actively searching for solutions and those who aren't. And we'll discuss strategies for both. First is social media advertising. And notice I said advertising. It used to be all about posting engaging things on your Facebook page. Today it's about advertising. You remember in 2009 when Facebook introduced the like button and businesses scrambled to get likes. Everything was about, hey, like us on Facebook. Hey, like us to be entered to this drawing to win a television, right? And all these businesses were gathering those likes because they knew that they could promote anything they wanted at any time for free to all of those fans of theirs. And it was working like a charm until 2012, Facebook decided to go public and had to figure out how to effectively monetize those billion-plus users they had. And up to that point, they hadn't been profitable and were taking a lot of heat for not having a plan for being able to generate more revenue. So what did they do? They changed their algorithm, the formula they use to determine what users see in their newsfeed. And previously, if someone liked your Facebook page, they would see the majority, if not all, of what you posted. After the algorithm change, they were seeing less than 7% of what you post. And these companies panicked. But surprise, Facebook had a handy solution. You could pay them a fee to boost your posts so all of your fans could see them again. And that was what jump-started Facebook's advertising program. And it's been extremely successful. And then that's partly due to their sheer number of users, but probably even more so because of the targeting that's available. With Facebook advertising, you can put your content in front of the exact subset of Facebook users who are most likely to take action on it. And now, as you've no doubt heard, Facebook's been under scrutiny recently about privacy and data collection and data sharing policies. And as a result, they're phasing out data that they purchase from third-party sources, which made up about half of their targeting criteria. However, even after taking out that outside data, they still have over 600 different criteria you can target. Let me give you just a small sampling of the targeting that's available with Facebook advertising. You can target by location, gender, relationship status, education, if they have kids, of what ages, life events, such as newly engaged, recently moved, their political leanings, interests, such as wellness and nutrition, hobbies and activities, and the list goes on. Just an incredible level of targeting available on Facebook. And the ads that you run on Facebook should be consistent with not only any printed material you have, but also your website. Back to that idea of brand consistency. You want the look and feel and messaging of your ads to be consistent with the page that they land on when they click on your ad. And you want to use, ideally, a mix of still ads like you see here and video ads. And we'll look at that more in just a second. So have you ever been researching something online and later that day you're on Facebook or on another website and you see an ad for the exact item you were researching? Same color, same brand, everything. Well, that's called retargeting. And here's how it works on Facebook. If if you have the Facebook, what they call a tracking pixel installed on your website, when someone lands on your website, something called a cookie is dropped onto their web browser. Then later, when they're on their Facebook page, that pixel will tell Facebook to deliver your ads right there in their newsfeed. And you can even set it up to customize the ads based on which pages they visited while they were on your website. So pretty powerful way to just remain top of mind, get people back into your process, your funnel. So that's Facebook retargeting. Now let's look at Google advertising. Just like Facebook, Google has become primarily a pay-to-play platform. You know, in the past, if you had a strong organic ranking for a few key terms, you could get a steady flow of new patients from the internet, and you didn't have to pay for them. Then Google went public, so they then had shareholders in Wall Street to keep happy, which means continually increasing revenue. And Google doesn't make a dime off of organic clicks, only when someone clicks an ad. So it's been their mission the past couple of years to monetize everything they possibly can. And their biggest moneymaker by far is their AdWords advertising program. And it's the largest, most well-known advertising platform in the world. And it's made up of several types of ads. First is our search ads. And as we saw on those first few slides, there are a lot of people searching Google for sleep apnea information and solutions. And search ads are the ads that show at the top of the Google results page when somebody types in a search term. And these are often referred to as pay-per-click or PPC ads. And it's everything you see inside the red square here. And you don't pay to show up, you only pay if someone clicks on your ad. And again, the amount you pay is based on an auction type system. So the more people, the more practices bidding on a keyword, the more expensive those clicks are going to be. And those ads continue to take up more and more real estate on Google search results pages, and that's not by accident. Since the majority of Google's revenue comes from people clicking those ads, they've continued to make them more and more prominent. So this is what it looks like today on a desktop computer, and it's even more pronounced on a phone. You have to scroll way down before you get past the ads. So as an advertiser, you really can't ignore them as a way to gain visibility and generate new patients.
Hey, Mark.
And here, yes.
You know, there are some questions coming through requesting that we share your link again. I think that you're really striking a chord. This is reminiscent in some ways of, for me at least, of medical billing, in that you're giving us a lot of really valuable information, and this is evidence that it can be effective. But it sounds like there are a lot of people, just like they want to use a third-party biller, they see a value in having someone manage this for them, so that they can focus on patient treatment. So if you don't mind, just giving everybody a quick shout one more time with the link to schedule a time with you.
Sure. It's bullseyedental.com/call, CALL. And that'll link you right to my calendar. And, you know, it's like I know I've shared this with you in the past, Jason, but this is a real passion of mine because, you know, as you know, Jason, I'm a sleep apnea sufferer. So the fact that I can combine that piece with the marketing, which you know I love and have been doing for all these years, it's just I get kind of passionate. So hopefully I'm not going too fast. I'm not throwing too much out there right now. But these are some examples of search ads we've created, and you can see we hit it from three angles: alternative to CPAP, snoring, and then sleep apnea. You know, just based on what they search, the different ads would show up. And getting back to the conversation going on in the patient's mind, you know, restful sleep without CPAP, tired of being tired. That's speaking their language. That's, that tired of being tired, that's maybe somebody did a search regarding lack of energy, exhaustion, etc. and you want your ad to be there joining that conversation. All right, now Google display advertising is an entirely different animal from Google search. Google search, they had to type in a search term in order for your ad to show up. With Google display, when those ads show up on websites when someone hasn't conducted a specific search. And this type of ad is very good at creating demand, because not everyone knows to do a search for sleep apnea. Not everyone with OSA knows that dentists offer a solution, as you mentioned earlier, Jason. So display ads can be great for creating awareness and then also generating interest. And Google has advertising agreements with over 2 million websites. So your ad could show to someone within a certain geographic radius of your office who's visiting any one of those websites. So for example, someone near your office could be visiting usatoday.com, and your ad could show up like this. Or it could be in a banner at the top, or right in the middle of an article they're reading. And the nice thing about display ads is the cost per click is much less than it is for search ads. So, and the two really complement one another well. And all of those websites have different size requirements. So you want to create several versions of your ads in order to maximize your potential for showing up. All right, and of course we have to talk about video. You know, progressive practices are using video extensively in their marketing today, and that's a wise decision. According to Cisco, by the end of next year, 80% of the world's internet traffic will be video. And including a video on your homepage can increase conversion rates by 20% or more. And people are 4 times more likely to watch a video about a product or service than they are to read about it. And once you have quality video footage, you can use it to create video ads, put it on your landing pages. It's great for patient testimonials. It could be you on camera making your, oral appliance therapy presentation, right? Q&A videos, a practice tour, just several ways to leverage video. Video ads on Facebook tend to get much more engagement than still ads. And since 85% of video watched on Facebook is watched without sound, we always put captioning at the bottom like you see here. And that captioning tells the story without them having to click on the sound. So, it would go through like this, and you want to grab their attention so they stop scrolling through their Facebook feed long enough to watch. Right? And again, this ad speaks to both the snorer and the non-word snoree. For advertising to be most successful, you need something called message match. And that is the look and feel of the ad they click on needs to be consistent with the page they land on. For example, if someone clicks this ad, you want to take them to a page like this, right? There's that consistency. It reduces skepticism and increases conversion rates. Now, if they were clicking on an ad related to oral appliance therapy being an alternative to CPAP, you wouldn't want to take them to that page that we just looked at, right? They already know what sleep apnea is. They've already been tested. That would cause a disconnect, and it's likely you'd lose them. So if they click on a video ad like this, and they're seeing this ad, okay? They click this ad, you don't want to take them to that page we just looked at. You want to take them someplace like this. And again, smooth, consistent transition. And as you continue down this page, instead of starting the education process about sleep apnea, as we looked at on that website earlier, you jump right into an oral appliance as a convenient alternative to CPAP. And then the idea of joining the conversation, right? If they clicked on an alternative to CPAP ad, it's likely they're experiencing some or all of these issues. So right away they're thinking, hey, that's me. They really understand what I'm dealing with. And you're confirming their feelings, hey, you're not alone. And then as they continue down that page, they see this headline, hate traveling with CPAP. There are a lot of people who don't mind wearing their CPAP at home, but they hate the hassle of hauling it through airports. Well, I said a lot of people, a few people, right, that don't mind wearing their CPAP at home. But even those folks, they hate traveling with it, just the hassle of bringing it through airports, finding a plug in the hotel room that's close enough to the bed, all of that. So again, you want to make sure you're hitting all of those audiences with your messaging. Okay. And then we're kind of in the home stretch here. So while paid advertising is a requirement for real success online today, there's just no way around it. There are still opportunities within organic search. So as we looked at before, this at the very top of the search result page, a Google search result is pay-per-click ads. That's in the green box here. This red box are Google Maps, okay? And then this purple is the organic section. And again, Google is making it harder and harder to show up and get enough clicks in the organic section. Not only are they making it smaller, but they're putting fewer actual practices in there and adding in more directory listings, okay? However, you still want to optimize your website for organic search. So as you can see here, this client of ours is running both paid ads and they're also showing up as the #1 organic result. And that increases your chances of that searcher ending up on your website, okay? The two go together and reinforce one another and just give you more real estate on that first page. So you don't want to ignore the organic. And then another opportunity that Google rolled out in the 4th quarter of last year is called Google Posts. And this is essentially a display ad that can be embedded in your Google business listing. And you can see this post was viewed over 1,000 times between October 23rd and December 31st. And those were free. This wasn't a paid position. This was an embedded post within your Google business, also called Google My Business page. All right, and finally, postcards can be effective in some cases. Obviously we're jumping offline now. And it's just another way to generate awareness and interest and reach maybe a little bit different audience. A lot of dentists say postcards don't work for them. Either they used to work and now they don't, or they've never worked. And honestly, that's because most dental postcards look and sound alike. It's the same stock images of the same smiling models. It's the same offers, you know, $39 new patient special, free teeth whitening for life, et cetera, et cetera. And they see, you know, they might see 5 or 10 of them a month.
Well, Mark,
but it's highly unlikely. Yeah.
What about the ad, the postcard that says that they treat families, as if though there's a practice out there that only treats single people?
Right, right. I know. Or I crack up at the ones, you know, we treat families, children's play area, senior discount, you know, military. It's like they're trying to just speak to the world, right? But that's a very ineffective approach.
If you have one arm, if you have one arm, or 2 arms, or no arms, or 3 arms, we'll be happy to see you. Yeah.
Right. Come on, come on. Yeah.
Sure.
But it's highly unlikely anyone in your area has received a postcard that looked like this. And it can be especially effective in conjunction with similarly designed Google Display and Facebook ads, as they reinforce one another, the online and the offline working together. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Jason, and then I can come back at the end to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. As I mentioned earlier, this is really reminiscent of medical billing. Again, in that it can be really successful, it can be very impactful for a practice, but it involves so much specific skill. It really requires this to be someone's core competency. And I know a lot of dentists that are really technically savvy, internet savvy, but this is just so specific, not unlike medical billing, that it seems that this is an area where it really pays to utilize a service, a trusted service, to provide uh, uh, this level of success. So with that, if you need assistance with your medical billing, if you need assistance with software to ensure that you're compliant with medical legal guidelines, you need some training for your team, you need home sleep testing, I ask you to please just type consult now. Additionally, you can see here, we've got a list of our upcoming courses. We just added another one today with our friends Whole You Respire and sleeptest.com up in New York on August 3rd and 4th. Our courses are really different than most of the other courses out there. We stay away from academia, and instead we really focus on the practical aspects, the hands-on practical aspects of the dental sleep workflow, from screening to testing to treating to billing. We just had a course in Houston with rave reviews, and for anyone that types course right now, COURSE, type course. My colleagues Jody and Brandy will reach out to you tomorrow, and you'll save $200 on any of our upcoming courses, which include a custom dental device for the dentist, a home sleep test for the dentist, 14 hours of CE. And because dental sleep is such a team-driven procedure, we also include one team member in that tuition. So type course now, and Jody or Brandy will contact you tomorrow to get you signed up for New York, Orlando, Rochester, Cleveland, or any of the other courses that we'll add later this year. What do we have next, Mark? So the return,
ROI.
yeah, ROI, that matters, whether it's in medical billing, dental sleep, or online marketing. Yeah,
Yes,
ROI,
absolutely.
ROI is the name of the game. So for anyone that's on tonight that's not currently using DS3 services, and you're wondering, one of the questions I see repeatedly on these webinars, which by the way, I'm the one that's usually hiding in the background answering these questions. Um, One of the recurring questions is, how many appliances do I need to make? How many patients do I need to treat until this makes sense for my practice? And what we have here is a very realistic return on investment workup that shows that if you include uh, or if you factor in an average reimbursement of $2,500, which is a conservative, very realistic reimbursement. Occasionally I'll see companies that will share these EOBs for $9,000, and they'll tell dentists they can make $9,000 for every patient they treat. I've certainly seen $9,000 EOBs, but those really are anomalies. So we use a very realistic, conservative reimbursement of $2,500, a realistic average lab fee of $350, third-party billing fees of approximately $200, and then factoring in DS3 fees as well, which includes all of our education, the coaching, the software, the support to help you realize dental sleep success. If you treat just 6 patients per year, that's a gross collections of about $15,000. And then after all of those expenses, puts you at about $8,000 net. If you treat a patient a month, that's about $20,000 net. And a patient a week with a month off comes out to just south of $100,000. Now, none of us are here solely, or I would certainly hope that none of us are here solely based on finances. Most of us, or all of us, should be here, of course, to focus on patient care, on saving lives, on improving quality of life. But let's be realistic here. A dental practice is, it has to make money. We've got team members that need to be taken care of. Um, we've got to contribute to our communities, and this can be extremely profitable. And especially if you've got a service to help you bring in new patients, it can really be can make a lot of sense. So if 1 in 5 patients has apnea and you're screening your patients, treating just 6 patients a year, you'd almost have to try not to do this to only do that. So again, if you type consult now, Jody or Brandy will reach out to you tomorrow, learn about your practice, what your obstacles are, your challenges, and share how we may be able to help you along with our partners. So type consult, and we'll get in touch with you tomorrow. And with that, Mark, I'll pass it back over to you. And if you can just share one more time, I'm going to type it in here for everyone what your link is, so that we can. Here we go.
Yep.
So bullseyedental.com/call. Type that, or
Yes.
visit that site, and they'll be able to view your calendar and schedule time for a free 30-minute consult with you. Is that correct?
That's right.
And
Yes,
what
that's
are you
right.
going to do during that consult, Mark?
Well, honestly, it's they will drive. If they just want to ask questions the whole time, we can do that. If they want to talk about something specific with their market, their practice, maybe what they're seeing competitively, a marketing angle that they're thinking about, and just want someone to bounce the idea off of. And then if they want, I can show them our program that we've put together. And that's just, it's a real brief, a couple of slides, and show them some of the things we're doing, and some of the things that are working for other practices currently around the country. So it's definitely not a sales pitch.
Gotcha.
That's just not my style.
Hey, Mark, I just we've got a question from Dr. Hofatwang that asked, how important is it to have to use a marketing firm that's focused on dental sleep versus a marketing firm that's just sort of a general dental marketing firm?
Well, obviously, I'm a little bit biased there, because from the very beginning, when I started the company in 2006, we quickly niched into dental, because I quickly realized that we had a couple of CPA firms, a law firm, a big plumbing contractor, and we had hired a team of writers, and several of them had dental backgrounds, and one of them came to me one day and said, "Hey, it's tough to go from writing about dental implants in the morning to writing about clogged plumbing in the afternoon." And the light bulb went on, and that's when we went 100% dental, because it's as everybody on the call knows, it's a very specific discipline, a very specific industry with its own terminology, and what we quickly learned is, by focusing solely on dental and working with dental practices across the country over the years, we gathered a lot of data that enables us to kind of bypass some of the mistakes and issues with our current clients, because we've seen it, we've gathered the data, and I like the phrase, you don't want somebody learning on your dime. You don't want someone who doesn't know dentistry learning dentistry while you're paying them a fee to market your practice. And the same would be for sleep, because sleep, as we talked about before, is a completely different marketing approach and terminology and messaging than if you're marketing for dental implants.
Yeah. Mark, do you have a view on when patients engage this dental sleep marketing, how and then contact the practice, how frequently do they actually convert to patients?
That is a great question, and that's an ongoing challenge in across the industry, as you no doubt have heard and seen firsthand. But it's very important, and if a doctor calls us and says, "Hey, I'm wanting to get into sleep and I want to start marketing," I always ask, "Well, what are you doing about billing, and do you have a sleep champion within the practice? And if they say, I don't know, and no, and I say, hey, you don't want to spend money marketing until you have your house in order, because we're going to start making the phone ring and your team isn't going to know what to do with those callers. And so the conversion rate is going to be extremely low. And we have a HIPAA compliant call tracking, call recording system that we use, so we can go in and listen. And some of those conversations are just horrendous. And honestly, and not to give you, to make this sound like a commercial, but I recommend they contact DS3, because you guys have the ability to get them ready to accept those calls. Otherwise, they're just flushing marketing dollars down the drain.
Yeah, Mark, that mirrors my experience too. Oftentimes we speak with practices at DS3 that are relatively new to dental sleep. And one of the first questions that they ask before they have a disciplined regimen in place to screen patients, before they've got processes in place to send those patients to sleeptest.com, before they know which devices to make for which patients, before they have billing protocols in place. Before any of that, they ask, what do I do about marketing? And our response to them is always, you've got to get those processes in place first. So let DS3
Yes.
help you implement those processes, and then turn to Bullseye. And then when that fire hydrant of that fire hose or whatever it is turned on, then you know how to manage those patients. Otherwise, you'll do a great job targeting these patients, driving them with a strong CTA. How you like that, Mark? You taught me something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
but before you'll do a fantastic job targeting them with a strong CTA. But then the practice won't know what to do, and um, so that's where I think that if everyone here would type consult and get started with DS3. Everyone here would type bullseyedental.com/call and get started. And when the time is right, it makes sense so that they can convert all of that traffic to new patients. And the other thing is, Mark, I know previously you shared with me, and I forgot the stats, but you shared with me that when you had done some dental sleep marketing, that you were also tracking um, how much new patient dentistry had been treatment planned as a result. So what I thought was really interesting about that was that you were able to, back to your point earlier about differentiation of the dental practice,
Mm-hmm.
you were able to
Mm-hmm.
drive traffic to the practice for dental sleep, for sleep apnea treatment, but then ultimately those patients stayed around in most instances to become lifetime patients of that dental practice. So they got their prophies there, their crowns there, all their restorative work. So it was really a way to generate revenue beyond just treating that patient for apnea.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you think about it, most people, when they're thinking about dental services, very few people get excited about that or look forward to that, right? And yet, when they come to you first as a sleep patient and you change their life, literally, I mean, just, it's all of a sudden they're feeling rested. These unexplained health issues are going away. They are so grateful. And now they think about your office and they have all these warm, fuzzy feelings, right? That they generally wouldn't have if they came in as a dental patient first. And so it's natural that they're going to be drawn and say, yeah, I want them to be my dentist. That was an incredible experience, and they made such a difference in my life. So it kind of sets a little different tone.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, can you do me a favor if you don't mind bumping back a slide to Jack Nicholson again?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so just a reminder, I know we're about out of time. Again, Mark is here to continue answering questions, but our next webinar will be 2 weeks from today, just before the AADSM. 2 weeks from today, Tuesday the 29th. It'll be presented by Dr. Jameson Spencer. It will have a lengthy title. All TMJ patients are nuts, right? Um, and really looking forward to this webinar. So keep an eye out for your CE certificate in your email in the next 72 hours. It will have a link to register for this next webinar, and we'll see you there. Dr. Drake and Dr. Yatros will get another week's reprieve to rest their voices while Dr. Spencer fills in. And Mark, I want to say thank you for being here tonight. Um, we'll hang out. I think you said you can hang out a while longer to answer any other questions, but to anyone else that's here,
Sure.
if you've got to jump off, you can jump off. Your CE certificate will be in your email. And Mark, I really want to say again, just thank you for sharing all this information. It's I know it was really well received when you spoke at the symposium, and it was so well received that we asked you to come back at next year's North American Dental Sleep Medicine Symposium.
Yeah, and I appreciate it because while I can't treat patients, I mean, this, as I said, and hopefully it comes across, something I'm very passionate about. And if I can help, the doctors treat more patients, then that is just an awesome thing for me. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, Mark, I'm looking here. It looks like we answered all of the questions.
Okay.
But it looks like we've answered all of the questions, and it looks like there's a lot of people that are going to want to talk to you in the coming days. So I hope your
Okay.
schedule is clear.
It's pretty clear until actually AADSM that you mentioned. I'll be there. Are you going to be there, Jason?
Yes, I will be. We'll be at booth 300. What about yourself?
Oh, I think it's booth 220 something. I forget. 227 maybe? 221? Something like that.
Okay, but you'll have
I don't have
what's the name of your booth? The title of the booth? Do you know?
at the very top of the booth it'll say dentalsleepmarketing.com in
Okay.
big letters.
Excellent. So you'll be at the Dental Sleep Marketing booth. We'll be at the DS3 Dental Sleep Solutions booth. And any of you that are on here that will be at the AADSM, please stop by and see Mark, and stop by the DS3 booth and see Jody, Brandy, Dr. Yatros, Dr. Drake. I'll be there as well. And
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah, we look forward to seeing you in Baltimore. Travel safely. We'll see you on a webinar in a couple weeks, and have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. See you
Thanks,
later.
everyone.
Good night.
Take care. Good night.